Alright, so you're thinking about getting a Ram. Maybe you've already sat in one at the dealership, felt that big comfortable seat, looked at that massive 12-inch screen, and thought, yeah, this is the one. I get it. I really do. That truck is gorgeous. But before you sign anything, before you hand over that down payment, I need to sit down with you like a real one and walk you through something most dealerships will never tell you. Because the sticker price, that's just the beginning of the story. And trust me, the rest of the story is what's going to affect your bank account every single month for years to come. Let's start right there at the dealership. A base Ram 1500 Tradesman, the cheapest one you can buy, starts around $38,000. Sounds manageable, right? But here's the thing. Almost nobody drives off the lot in a base model Ram. The average transaction price for a Ram is sitting right around $58,000 to $62,000 depending on the trim. That's the Bighorn, the Laramie, the Rebel, the ones people actually buy. So right off the bat, we're not talking about a $38,000 truck. We're talking about a truck that costs more than what most people paid for their first house back in the day. And once you add destination fees, dealer markups, documentation fees, and all those little line items they slide past you at the finance desk, you could easily be looking at $65,000 out the door before you even blink. Now let's talk about financing, because this is where it really starts to hit different. If you finance $60,000 over 72 months, which is 6 years, at around a 7% interest rate, which is pretty standard right now, your monthly payment is coming out to roughly $940 a month. Just let that sink in for a second. That's almost $1,000 every single month just for the truck itself. And over the life of that loan, you're paying around $7,700 in interest alone. So that $60,000 truck actually costs you closer to $68,000 by the time it's paid off. That's money that's just gone. And a lot of people don't sit down and do that math before they sign. But okay, you've got the truck. Now you have to insure it, and this is the part people seriously underestimate. Full coverage insurance on a Ram, which your lender is going to require if you're financing, averages between $180 and $260 a month depending on your age, your driving record, where you live, and the trim level. Let's call it $200 a month to be conservative. That's another $2,400 a year just to be legal and protected on the road. And if you're under 25 or you've got a couple of dings on your record, that number climbs fast. We're talking $300, even $350 a month in some cases. So add that on top of your payment and you're already at $1,140 to $1,300 a month before you've even put gas in it. And oh, speaking of gas, the Ram, the base 3.6-liter V6 gets around 20 miles per gallon combined. The 5.7-liter HEMI 5.8, no, the one that sounds like God clearing his throat when you start it up, that drops to about 17 combined, sometimes less if you're towing or doing a lot of city driving. The e-Torque mild hybrid helps a tiny bit, but not enough to change your life at the pump. If you're driving the average 15,000 miles a year and gas is sitting around $3.50 a gallon, you're burning through roughly $2,600 to $3,000 in fuel annually. That's another $220 to $250 a month. So now we're at $1,350 to $1,550 a month, and the truck hasn't needed a single repair yet. Now let's talk maintenance, and this is where I want you to really pay attention because Ram 1500s have a reputation, and it's a mixed one. The routine stuff, oil changes, tire rotations, air filters, that's going to run you roughly $600 to $900 a year if you're staying on top of it. The 5.7 HEMI needs a bit more oil, so your oil changes are slightly pricier than a smaller engine. But here's where it gets real. The Ram 1500 has some known issues you need to know about before you buy. The 8-speed ZF transmission that's in a lot of these trucks has had documented problems with shuddering and rough shifting. Fixing that can run anywhere from $1,500 to over $5,000, depending on what exactly goes wrong and whether you're still under warranty. The HEMI engine, as amazing as it sounds, has had issues with lifter failures, specifically what's called MDS, the cylinder deactivation system. When those lifters go, you're looking at a repair bill that can hit $3,000 to $7,000. And it's not a rare thing. There are entire online communities dedicated to people dealing with this exact problem. Now, does every Ram have these issues? No, but enough of them do. that it's a real conversation you need to have with yourself before buying. Tires are another one people forget about completely. The Ram 1500 rides on big tires, we're talking 275s, 285s, sometimes larger depending on trim. A full set of quality replacement tires is going to cost you $1,200 to $1,800 installed. And if you've got a Rebel or a TRX adjacent package with aggressive off-road tires, those wear faster and cost even more. You're replacing tires every 40,000 to 60,000 miles. Realistically, so spread that cost out over time, you're adding another $30 to $45 a month to your true operating cost. Let's not forget depreciation, because this is the silent killer of truck ownership that nobody talks about at the dealership. A Ram 1500 loses roughly 40 to 45% of its value in the first 5 years. So if you bought that $60,000 truck today, 5 years from now, it might be worth $33,000 to $36,000. That means you lost $24,000 to $27,000 in value just by owning it. That's $400 to $450 a month evaporating into thin air. Now, trucks do hold their value better than most vehicles. Ram actually does pretty decently compared to some competitors, but the depreciation is still real and still brutal, especially in those first 2 years. So let's add all of this up together because I want you to see the full picture. Your monthly payment is around $940, insurance is $200, fuel is $235, maintenance averaged out monthly is about $65, tires average out monthly is about $35, depreciation is $425. When you add all of that up, you're looking at roughly $1,900 a month, and that's a conservative estimate. Some people are paying $2,200 to $2,500 a month all in when you factor in higher insurance rates, gas price spikes, or an unexpected repair. Over 5 years, the true cost of owning a Ram 1500 can land anywhere between $110,000 and $140,000 when you account for everything. Not the sticker price, not the monthly payment, everything. Now here's what I want to leave you with, because I'm not telling you all of this to talk you out of the truck. If the Ram 1500 fits your life, if you need the towing capacity, if you got a business that requires a real working truck, if you've genuinely budgeted for what this thing actually costs, then go get it. It's one of the best trucks on the market for a reason. The interior quality on the higher trims is legitimately incredible. The ride comfort makes it feel more like a luxury SUV than a truck. The e-torque system is genuinely clever. And that HEMI sound is, look, you just can't put a price on that. But if you're buying it because it looks good, and you want to feel like a baller on the highway, make sure your finances can actually back that up, because the true cost of owning a Ram 1500 isn't what the dealership puts on the window sticker. It's everything that comes after you drive it off the lot. And now you know exactly what that looks like. So go make a smart decision. And whatever you choose, make sure it's yours and not the bank's.